In the previous video, we saw that when Hwang suddenly orders carbonara despite hating it, Kanghyuk adjusts the recipe to suit Hwang's taste. Inspired further by pianist Lee Jong's embrace of musical fusion, Hwang opens up to change. Meanwhile, Tori evolves after eating the spirit tree's fruit and develops oven-like powers that enhance Kanghyun's cooking. Kanghyun also tutors village kids and guides Sina through a major career decision. Afterwards, as he reaches the Beastman's village, Cassandra is about to ask for a favor regarding her daughter. Cassandra tells Kanghyun that Mona has recently become very picky with her food, and if a dish does not taste good to her, she refuses to eat it at all. The next morning, he shows Kanghyun the situation personally, where the Beastmen are asking for extra servings and finishing their meals quickly, while Mona sits quietly in front of her bowl and refuses to eat. Kanghyun tastes the food and finds it perfectly fine, and that is when he understands that the problem is not the cooking but Mona's changing preferences. Cassandra explains that because of this habit, Mona has started skipping proper meals, especially when the same dish appears again after a few days. Kanghyun knows that if this situation continues, her health may suffer, so he calls Haemin, the tribe's cook, and asks what she has been preparing lately. After checking the kitchen and listening to her explanation, Kanghyun notices that, although the menu changes slightly, the ingredients as well as the recipes remain mostly the same, and because of that, many dishes taste similar even if they look different. He tells Cassandra that they need to introduce more variety into their meals, and for that to happen, Haemin needs to learn new recipes and cooking methods. Cassandra asks how he plans to make that possible, and Kanghyun replies that he wants to visit a human town market, since it is the best place to explore new ingredients and spices. He explains that the spices they currently receive through trade are very basic. If they study the human market and expand their trade list, it will not only help with Mona's picky eating but also improve the village's food culture over time. Cassandra agrees that the idea is reasonable, but she is still concerned, as even though their relationship with humans has improved, they are not yet at a stage where they can freely visit each other's towns. If something goes wrong, it could harm the trust they have built and even break their relationship. Kanghyun suggests asking Lord Roventus for official cooperation, as this plan could benefit both sides and strengthen their relationship. Cassandra seems to accept the idea, but before she gives a final answer, Haemin steps forward and asks for permission to accompany Kanghyun to the human town market. She tells them that she wants to learn new recipes herself so she can better satisfy Mona's tastes and cook delicious meals. Cassandra agrees and asks Kanghyun to act as a mediator by getting Lord Roventus's approval. She further declares that Haemin will go as the tribe's representative and then reminds her to hide her ears and tail carefully among humans. Noah also asks to join, but Cassandra refuses as his ears and tail are too noticeable. Mona insists on going with Kanghyun, and after seeing her determination, Cassandra allows her to go as well. A few days later, Lord Roventus waits for Kanghyun's arrival and instructs Randolph to take good care of him. Randolph understands that the Lord also has his own reason for helping Kanghyun, because he wants his cook, Thomas, to learn new cooking skills from him. Randolph goes out to welcome Kanghyun and the Beastkin, still surprised that such a day has come when they can enter a human town openly. As they enter the market, Kanghyun cannot hide his excitement as he looks around at the lively stalls and the endless variety of goods on display, but he quickly notices that Haemin is reacting very differently. Instead of enjoying the atmosphere, she seems nervous and overwhelmed, worrying about whether she will properly fulfill her responsibility and learn everything she needs to improve her cooking. Meanwhile, Mona moves around with visible delight, eagerly stopping at different stalls and staring at the unfamiliar foods with curiosity. Kanghyun gently tells Haemin that she does not need to treat this trip like a formal lesson. He explains that the real purpose of coming here is to experience new tastes, observe different methods, and allow inspiration to come naturally, because creativity in cooking grows from exposure and curiosity rather than pressure. His words help her calm down, and she agrees to focus on enjoying the experience instead of overthinking it. After that, the group continues exploring the market at a more relaxed pace, tasting various dishes and carefully observing how they are prepared. After walking for quite a while, they finally sit down to rest. Heyman speaks excitedly about the flavors she has discovered so far and admits that until now she has relied only on her own limited experience when cooking for the tribe. She tells them that seeing such a wide range of ingredients and techniques makes her realize how vast the culinary world truly is, and this realization awakens a strong desire in her to return and start experimenting immediately. Randolph lightly laughs and tells her not to rush, reminding her that she still has not visited the restaurant he has been recommending all day. He insists that before making any plans, she must try a popular meat dish called uroaros, which he believes will leave a strong impression on her. When they arrive at the restaurant, they see large chunks of meat arranged along long skewers, roasting in a way that resembles kebabs. Randolph orders 5 servings without hesitation, and the owner soon brings the dishes to their table with clear pride. As they wait, Randolph explains that uroaros is one of the restaurant's best sellers and that many merchants buy one every morning before starting their work. The dish consists of crisp bread filled generously with seasoned meat and fresh vegetables, creating a rich combination of flavors. When Kanghyuk takes a bite, he pauses thoughtfully, because although the ingredients and preparation differ slightly, the overall taste reminds him of a kebab. Impressed by its flavor, he signals Heyman to try it as well. She tastes it carefully, and her expression soon brightens as she begins praising the balanced blend of spices and textures that feel both bold and refined. Hearing her compliments, the owner proudly reveals that the distinctive taste comes from a special ingredient called bomong. Kanghyuk immediately realizes that bomong is quite similar to pepper, and he quietly wonders whether pepper is rare or expensive in this region. At the same time, Heyman continues thinking about the spice and how it might transform her own dishes. Later in the evening, after completing their shopping, Kanghyuk takes Heyman to a utensil shop before heading back. He knows that the beast folk usually rely on simple tools, even though specialized utensils can greatly improve cooking results. Inside the shop, Heyman notices a pepper mill and asks him about it. Kanghyuk explains that it is a grinder used for crushing dried bomong to release its flavor more effectively. Heyman curiously asks him whether he has eaten bomong before. Kanghyuk looks surprised and asks if her people do not use it in cooking. She explains that because bomong has a very strong scent, they never considered it suitable as food and instead scattered it near storage areas to keep wild animals away. She also mentions that their village has many bomong trees growing nearby. When Kanghyuk hears this, he immediately remembers how valuable the same spice appears to be in the human market. Realizing the opportunity, he tells Heyman that bomong could become a resource that benefits both clans through trade and cooperation. With that idea forming clearly in his mind, he suggests that they create a new bomong-based dish together, turning an overlooked ingredient into something valuable for everyone. Back at the castle, Thomas is not happy to see Kanghyuk in his kitchen again, and that too with a beastkin. At the same time, he is curious to see what new dish Kanghyuk is preparing this time, so he keeps watching from nearby. Kanghyuk explains to Heyman that bomong goes well with meat because it covers the unpleasant smell and brings out the meat's natural flavor. He shows her the spice and teaches her how to use it with a pepper mill, explaining that grinding it this way makes it easier to use and store. He then seasons the pork belly with salt and ground bomong and lets it rest for some time. After it has aged, he sears the meat and then places it in the oven with additional spices and white wine to cook further. As the pork cooks, a pleasant aroma spreads through the kitchen. When the dish is almost ready, Thomas comes closer and notices the crispy texture of the skin. He asks Kanghyuk if the crispiness is because he removed the moisture from the surface before cooking. Kanghyuk agrees and explains that pork belly, because of its thick fat layer, becomes even crispier when prepared that way. Kanghyuk then cuts the meat and hands a piece to both Heyman and Thomas. As they taste it, Their expressions change because they have never eaten pork like this before. Haemin realizes that Bomong's aroma is not as overwhelming as she once thought, and that it actually increases the appetite. Thomas suddenly starts crying and asks Kanghyuk for the recipe, after which he quickly leaves the kitchen. Haemin tells Kanghyuk that until now she believed Bomong was only a sharp and pungent spice, but now she understands its real taste. Kanghyuk replies that not only Bomong, but other spices can also create new flavors if they are used differently. He explains that food can have richer flavors depending on the chef's imagination. Calling him her master, Haemin asks him to teach her again so she can try applying what she has learned herself. She tells him that she wants to adjust the flavors more to suit the children's tastes, and Kanghyuk decides to begin teaching her with some basic recipes. A few days later, in the beastman's village, Bomong, which was once considered a nuisance, becomes the village's most valuable trade item. With Haemin leading the effort, the chef's skills improve, and the tools brought from the human town market make cooking more convenient. Cassandra observes these changes and thinks that everything improved because of Mona's picky eating, which has now been completely fixed. However, the only side effect is that Mona has started demanding more food and has gained more weight than before. Cassandra decides to handle the matter herself and takes her daughter to the training grounds, much to her dismay. As winter begins to set in and Kanghyuk realizes he has no heater at home, he decides to borrow one from Minho, who owns an extra unit. He goes to Minho's house and finds Sang-hoo there as well. He gets curious and asks Sang-hoo what he is doing there, and Sang-hoo explains that his father has recently sent him a new two-wheeler bike, so before opening and using his own, he wants to learn how to ride properly. Kanghyuk recalls that Sang-hoo's father is working overseas to cover his mother's hospital expenses, and since the bike is a gift from him, Sang-hoo likely wants to take good care of it. Understanding this, Kanghyuk offers to help him learn, and they soon begin practicing together. As the day passes into evening, Sang-hoo continues struggling to balance and falls repeatedly while trying to ride. Kanghyuk suggests taking a break and continuing the next day, but Sang-hoo insists on practicing more because he wants to improve quickly. He explains that all his friends already know how to ride two-wheelers, and his father gave him this gift believing he could ride well. He does not want to disappoint him and hopes to show his father, when he returns from overseas, that he can ride confidently on his own. Moved by his determination, Kanghyuk agrees to teach him a little longer. He tells Sang-hoo to keep his eyes focused ahead instead of looking down and reassures him that he will be there to catch him if he falls. After several more attempts, Sang-hoo finally manages to ride steadily by himself. In excitement, Kanghyuk lifts him into his arms to celebrate his success. Soon after, Sang-hoo's grandmother arrives to take him home for dinner and also invites Kanghyuk to join them for the meal as well. While Grandma prepares the side dishes for dinner, Sang-hoo assists her by arranging the table neatly, placing the bowls and utensils in their proper spots. Kanghyuk's attention is immediately drawn to the soybean paste stew, whose rich aroma spreads through the room and makes him hungry. When they sit down to eat, Kanghyuk notices that his bowl is already piled high with rice, which is almost a double portion. Sang-hoo serves him the stew, and as he begins eating, memories of his childhood come back to him, when soybean paste stew was frequently prepared at his home. He starts eating greedily while complimenting Grandma's cooking in his mind, thinking that the simple homemade flavor is something that cannot be imitated. Watching Grandma gently add more food to Sang-hoo's bowl reminds him of his own grandfather, who used to serve him in the same caring way. After the meal ends, Kanghyuk gets ready to leave. Grandma thanks him for helping Sang-hoo with his studies and mentions that he has been improving recently. She then asks about Kanghyuk's parents, who are living overseas. He replies that although he sometimes stays in contact with them, it has been quite a long time since he last saw them in person. As he walks back home, he quietly hopes that they are doing well. Meanwhile, his sister arrives in Korea after 10 years and makes her way toward the village to meet him. Tori and Rice Cake are playing outside when Se-hyun reaches her grandfather's house. The two animals notice her and approach curiously, sniffing her as she looks around in confusion, wondering why the building does not look like a restaurant at all. At that moment, Kanghyuk steps outside to bring his pets in and is shocked to see his sister standing at his door while playing with them. After they go inside and sit down, Sehun looks at Kanghyuk and remarks that he has become much shabbier since the last time she saw him. However, in her mind, she admits that he actually looks better than she expected. Kanghyuk, still surprised by her sudden appearance, asks what she is really doing here, since he knows she would not return to Korea just to visit him. Her eyes brighten at his curiosity, and she excitedly announces that she has secured a job in Korea at a 5-star restaurant. Kanghyuk reacts with surprise and says that it seems she has truly become a pâtissier. Sehun nods confidently and replies that she had to succeed because it has been her dream since childhood. Kanghyuk feels that time has passed quickly, as it seems like only yesterday that his little sister was happily baking cookies beside him. Sehun then explains that she still has some time before her official start date and adds that their mother has been wondering how he is doing, so she plans to stay with him for a while. As the day goes on, Sehun begins to feel bored and points out that in 2 entire days not a single customer, or even a fly, has come by. Kanghyuk reminds her that he had already told her how quiet it is, and she admits that she never imagined it would be this lifeless. Suddenly, she hears the door open and briefly assumes a customer has arrived, only to see an elderly woman who has come to give him some green onion kimchi. Watching this exchange, Sehun realizes that her brother is being looked after warmly by the villagers and is more connected to them than she expected. By evening, Sehun lies across the table with a rice cake in her hand, clearly bored and thinking about Kanghyuk, who, in her opinion, has been letting his skills fade without realizing it. Just then, she smells something coming from the kitchen and notices that Kanghyuk is cooking. She asks why he is preparing food when there are no customers, and he replies that he is testing and reviewing a recipe for his side work. As she watches him cook, she notices him smiling and wonders when he began smiling like that again. In the past, after he left to study abroad, he rarely smiled and often behaved coldly, which used to frighten her, even though his dedication to cooking never changed. She approaches him and eagerly asks what he is making. Kanghyuk explains that the dish is called truffle chongyang cream tagliatelle, and adds that he has adjusted the original truffle tagliatelle recipe to better suit Korean tastes. As he continues cooking, Sehun asks if she can use some of his ingredients, and he agrees without hesitation. While Kanghyuk finishes his pasta, Sehun begins preparing something of her own. Soon after, Sehun presents him with a dessert and explains that it is persimmon crème brûlée, made from ripe persimmons. Kanghyuk asks why she suddenly decided to make it, and she replies that she thought it would pair well with his pasta. When he tastes the dessert, he realizes she is right. The natural acidity of the persimmon balances the creaminess and even softens the heat from the chili in his dish, while still being sweet enough to stand on its own as a dessert. Sehun smiles proudly, and as she tastes the pasta, she realizes that his skills have not faded at all. Seeing that he seems healthier and more at ease now, she begins to think that this might be the right moment to persuade him to return to Seoul with her. Kanghyuk is washing the dishes when he notices Sehun quietly staring at him. He asks what she wants because he knows that the expression on her face usually means she is planning something. Sehun quickly replies that it is nothing, but in reality she is thinking of slowly persuading him to return to Seoul. She begins by saying that although she has looked around the village, she cannot find anything to do and feels bored. She complains that it is difficult to meet friends here and that there are no gaming cafes or movie theaters nearby, and further adds that life would be much better in Seoul. Kanghyuk responds plainly that it might be, but he does not seem interested, since he neither watches movies nor plays games. Realizing that her first attempt has failed, Sehun quietly prepares another way to convince him. As Kanghyuk continues his chores, she asks whether he does not miss his life as a chef in Hanam-dong, when he was well known and popular. She exaggerates by saying that her friends used to beg her to introduce them to him and that people lined up just to see him cook. Kanghyuk answers that he does remember, especially the times when customers forced their way into the kitchen and threatened not to pay unless he served them. He further adds that some even followed him after work and that his favorite knife was once stolen. As he recalls these unpleasant experiences, Sehyun realizes that her second attempt has also failed. For the moment, she decides to take a break as she has realized that trying to persuade him indirectly is not working, so she chooses to ask him directly. However, just as she is about to bring up the main issue, the spaghetti on her fork slips and falls onto Rice Cake's back, staining its white fur. She quickly apologizes and starts wiping it off in a panic. At that moment, Kanghyuk understands what she has been trying to say and asks if she means that they should go back to Seoul. Sehyun carefully admits that she does and explains that she sees no reason for him to stay here anymore, since he seems to be doing well now. Kanghyuk firmly says that he is not going anywhere, and a shocked Sehyun asks him back why he insists on staying in the countryside when he could live more comfortably in Seoul. Kanghyuk calmly replies by asking why he has to live like everyone else when he prefers living here. His answer frustrates her, and she suddenly snaps, accusing him of running away and wasting his skills in what she calls a rundown shop. However, as soon as the words leave her mouth, she realizes she has gone too far. Embarrassed by her outburst, Sehyun runs out of the house, leaving Kanghyuk standing there in surprise. He understands that she is getting fired up as she has just started a new job and decides to speak with her again when she calms down. But as night falls, Sehyun doesn't return, and although he keeps calling her, she does not answer her phone. Worried because she is unfamiliar with the village, he begins searching for her with Rice Cake and Tori. They search for some time without success, and Kanghyuk recalls how she used to run away like that in childhood whenever she was upset. Back then, it was manageable because they were near home, but now the situation is different since she does not know the area well. Suddenly, Rice Cake signals in a certain direction, and as they follow, they find Sehyun sitting quietly at Grandpa's house. Kanghyuk asks why she is sitting in the dark, and Sehyun begins apologizing for her behavior while crying. Her expression reminds Kanghyuk of the childhood times when she used to apologize the same way after running off. He starts laughing gently, claiming that she has not changed since elementary school, which only makes Sehyun more annoyed.